Trump livid after California allows statewide mail-in voting, these votes must not count. Do Oregon, Washington, Colorado, Utah, and Hawaii also not count? A democracy. When the President of the United States of America says votes shouldn't count because they're filled by mail, despite states like Oregon voting entirely by mail. He votes by mail. So in California, the Democrats, who fought like crazy to get all mail-in only ballots, and succeeded, have just opened a voting booth in the most Democrat area in the state. They are trying to steal another election. It's all rigged out there. These votes must not count. Scam. The President of the United States is demanding that votes not be counted. This is so ridiculous. Party of states' rights my buttocks. The president who's done all he can to destroy democracy is mad about an easier and viable plan for voting. For the both sides people, just remember that you generally don't hear Democrats rants about people voting. Just saying. So in California, the Democrats have just opened a voting booth in the most Democrat area in the state. I need a Trump University graduate certified in Trump translation registered to explain to me what in the fuck that means. Why are the GOP scared of people voting? Serious question, in what other Western democracies is the logistics of voting even an issue? Gerrymandering, voter suppression, mail-in voting as voter fraud etc. In Canada and the European countries I know of, voting logistics is a non-issue. People just vote. Easily. Hate is a strong word. It's a word I really don't like to casually throw around. Dislike is my preferred word of choice when it comes to describing individuals who rub me the wrong way. But I've gotta say, I hate this man. So one person is crazy. POTUS, but still just one person. The truly insane part of this is that now Fox, OANN, GOP, RNC, will all take this up as a rallying cry. Sean Hannity will feign outrage. People carrying rifles will flock to state capitals to protest the government ensuring that citizens get to vote. Millions and millions of American voters, millions of whom, like Trump, vote by mail, will believe that there is something corrupt about letting people vote. Mass insanity. Watch for it, these votes must not count. What we're seeing is the beginning of a stolen election. With Trump's DOJ and a Trump crony as Postmaster General, Trump is going to win the next election unless the voter turnout is like nothing ever seen before. Even then it might take a general strike. This is going to be a very long year. Edit typo. Waiting for conservatives to Trump's-plain this one. So in California, the Democrats, who fought like crazy to get all mail-in only ballots, and succeeded, have just opened a voting booth in the most Democrat area in the state, he tweeted on Saturday. They are trying to steal another election. It's all rigged out there, Trump also wrote. These votes must not count. Scam. Seriously, how do I pin down the nearest Republican and force them to understand that Trump is saying that counting everyone's legal votes qualifies as rigging an election, solely because a Democrat proposed it? The absolute most basic tenet of America, one man, one vote, is apparently rigging now. Now we know how our elections become illegitimate and a dictator is born. #fuck that bullshit. Any president of a democracy arguing against democracy should be removed from office as quickly as possible, by force if necessary. Voting is not secure with this creature around. As a native Californian, fuck you Trump. How is mail-in voting even a debate in 2020 during a virus pandemic? I look forward to mailing in my ballot and doing my part for American democracy in removing our piece of shit president. I object, Your Honor. On what grounds? It's absolutely devastating to my case. Thankfully, my state is also allowing mail-in ballots for all residents who wish it. Interestingly, he hasn't complained about that yet, but he also likes to pick on CA. As much as Trump will throw a temper tantrum about this, there is absolutely nothing he can do. It would be very unlikely that SCOTUS wouldn't rule in favor of the rights of the states in this instance. The federal government doesn't handle voting, the states do, and the Constitution grants the stateswide discretionary power over elections. As it should be. Mail-in voting is such a scam that the US military has been using it for decades. When everyone votes, Republicans lose. Too bad for Trump that the Constitution states that the manner of elections are prescribed by the states. Not that he's read the Constitution or anything. I'm a registered independent. I'll be voting by mail here in South Dakota, and my vote will 100% be against Trump, for Biden, unless something unexpected happens. In fact, I'll be voting against anyone who supports Trump, Trump's policies, Trump's positions, or the Republican Party in general. Dear Rational America. This is why owning the Senate is so important. Having the House is nice, yeah, you can bring impeachment and shit, but you'll never win. The deck has been stacked like never before, with Mitch McConnell loading up on hard right judges. The Supreme Court is already stacked, but there could be another one, sweet Ruth, before this rampage has been put down by a Biden win. A U.S. Senate can block mail-in voting initiatives. You all need to excise this cancer that is draining the life of your democracy. Save yourselves in November. The rest of the world is watching. We need to vote this fucker out. Whatever happened to states' rights? Don't count our votes. And watch us declare independence. These votes must not count. It's not as though his words fall on deaf ears. There are people who hear this and take marching orders, and those people needn't be wearing red bands on their sleeves to do so. The vote counting infrastructure needs to be absolutely transparent and fortified through and through if this is going to work now, and if the country doesn't call for it, it isn't going to happen. Literally advocating for voter suppression. Dude saying the quiet part out loud again. November is going to be a very dangerous time for our country this year. Aren't some states, Washington, Oregon, 100% vote by mail now? Voting methods are up to individual states, so there's not much Turn can do about it. I guess his plan at this point is to destroy the USPS before November. Jesus, Turn is an idiot. Come and try to fuck with us, you impeached cunt flap. This is how a child acts, not a president. Steal another election? Which one was stolen? I can recall at least 2 Republican presidential elections that were stolen pretty obviously. Authoritarians hate democracy. We already had mail-in voting as an option in CA, though. I've been voting by mail for years. I voted against this shit stain from my home, and I'll do it again. The Republicans have worked hard for decades to suppress votes. They're not about to stop trying. If the mail system is safe and secure enough to send every American a check for $1,200, it's secure enough for a vote. These people have no shame. Their argument is that more Democrats vote when there is mail-in voting, so it shouldn't be allowed. Trump is arguably the biggest threat American democracy has ever faced. American democracy is the biggest threat Trump has ever faced. Like he had any chance of winning California. President Trump, I think mail-in voting is horrible, it's corrupt. Reporter, you voted by mail in Florida's election last month, didn't you? Trump, sure. I can vote by mail. Reporter, how do you reconcile with that? Trump, because I'm allowed to. Before you ask, yes, of course there's video, https://twitter.com/msnbc/status/1247658663617138691. This isn't about California. This is about politicizing the issue of voting by mail. Allowing voting by mail would increase voter count among marginalized groups. These groups favor Democrats by a large margin. No one honestly cares about California, but by unifying the right on this issue, it will make it harder for the states where this could matter to change the laws to allow for vote by mail.